Hey everyone, today we're going to do a walk around on my 1970 CJ5. I have another video on what it's like to actually drive the 1970 CJ5 around on the roads today. But today I just thought I'd go over some of the specs. So if you want to listen to a guy brain dump everything he knows about old Jeeps, a bunch of useless information, then this is the video for you. Before we start though, please remember to hit that subscribe button. It'd mean a lot to me. Thank you. Alright, so like I said, my head is filled with so much useless information when it comes to old Jeeps. We're just going to talk about specifically this Jeep right now. So we'll just do a walkthrough on everything with this Jeep and everything that I've done to it, what's on it, why I did what I did, but let's just start with the basics. It's a 1970 CJ5. The CJ5 was originally started in 1955. This version went pretty much unchanged all the way till 1971. There are some little tiny changes. 1966, the Kaiser Corporation bought Willys Overland and then they took over the Jeep. They introduced a V6, the Dauntless 225 V6 into the CJ5 along with the original 4-cylinder. This Jeep has the 225 V6, or it came with it originally. It's been swapped to a Buick 231 V6. At some point in its past, the original motor was taken apart, and when I got the Jeep, the heads were off, the cylinders were seized, everything was all rusted. We had a 231 Buick V6 in another Jeep at the time. That Jeep was not in good shape and anything like that, but the motor ran. The motor was in good shape. So we took the motor out and we decided to go with the 231 V6 because when Kaiser kind of dissolved in 1971-72, they sold the Jeep to AMC. They then sold the Dauntless 225 motor to Buick, and then Buick changed it from a 225 odd fire engine to a 231 cubic inch even fire engine. It's the same block, it's the same everything. It bolted to the bell housing, the splines, everything, all the accessories that were on it. All we had to do was just replace the block. So now that we got the basics out of the way, when I was restoring or rebuilding this thing, I took, thousands of photos, and I'll put a little montage together of, before, during, and after, and then we'll get up and we'll do a quick walk around of the Jeep and I'll talk about all the different parts of it. I'm not gonna do that sound the whole time. That was pretty funny though. Alright, let's get up here and get a different view. We'll start with the front and we'll just kind of work our way through. The grill's original. The headlight rings have been replaced along with the turn signals. The headlights were actually the headlights that were in the Jeep when I bought it, but I don't believe they're original, but they are very old. Originally in 1955, the CJ5 started with these tiny little amber turn signals. I believe it was in 1966 they changed them to these larger style, and then I believe it was 1968 they started doing the turn signals on the fenders. I've got a Smitty built, just 8,000 pound winch up on the front. I believe it's only been used like one time, but it's got synthetic line on it. I put the controller on the back of it just to kind of create some more airflow for the radiator. This thing does overheat if you're trying to go over 55 miles an hour. The bumper was made by a guy in California. I don't know if he's still in business, but I bought the bumpers online and he made them and then he shipped them over here to me. We'll get down underneath and we'll look at the axle. The front axle is a Dana 27 and it's got closed knuckles. I'm sure you saw some of that in the intro. So the lift springs are 4-inch lift springs made by Skyjacker. I bought the kit. It came with the shocks and the springs. The brakes, while we're under here, we can kind of see the brakes. They're 11-inch drums that came from it was like a mid-70s Wagoneer. They're 11-inch drums. The original drums were the 10-inch drums, which were the upgraded drums, but we'll get into more into that later. The tires I decided to go with are Super Swamper TSLs. They're 34-10-50 with a 15-inch rim. The rims are the original rims, along with the hubs, which were the premium upgraded worn hubs from back in 1970. The hood is original. The fenders are original. The fenders were pretty rotted. and I did a lot of work on them trying to save them. We had to do some welds and stuff like that. As you can see, they're starting to crack a little bit. The Jeep stamp, this is the same stamp. They did that from 1955 to 1971. And then in 72, when AMC took over, they went to it's in the same location, but it's a different font. Something interesting about the Jeep stamp, I've painted it white, or actually I had my wife paint it white, but originally when they showed up at the dealerships, they were never painted. They were always the body color. But if you go and you look at the for sale ads from back in 1970 or even before that, a lot of times you saw these painted black or white, and that was always done by the dealerships who always painted them by hand, so they were never perfect. So even though we just kind of brushed this on by hand and it doesn't look absolutely perfect, they never were originally, so that kind of makes me feel good. See, I told you, a lot of useless information. All right, moving on back. This was the original style mirror here. I've added a body mount that I cut in half right here so that I can pivot this thing so that when it's in the garage I don't constantly hit it. The wiper motor was originally electric. I forget what year they switched to electric from vacuum, but I put an electric switch here, and that's the hole where the original vacuum lines used to run up all the way to the vacuum motors that would power the windshield wipers. And we keep on moving back. That is the gas tank underneath the driver's seat. It's an 11-gallon gas tank, and you do sit right on top of it, and you fuel it right here. You see some of the CJs, they still have this cutout here, but nothing's there. That's just kind of leftovers from this era of the CJs. The e-brake handle is here, although it is not hooked up to anything, and I have a fire extinguisher mounted right under there. The clutch pedal here, if we can see that, is original, and that is the original location. I have turned it the other way. I have done some work to the brake system here. This is kind of like a universal hot rod brake kit that I bought off eBay, and it actually is a great fit to switch this from the master cylinder used to be accessed through this plate, and it was down on the floor, and the pedal would just kind of push the push rod into the master cylinder through some kind of pivoting system, and it never worked that great. I replaced that. I've got a much bigger master cylinder. It's under the hood now, and that makes those 11-inch drums work a lot better. This thing did not stop very well at all. It was pretty sketchy there for a little while. Keep on moving back. This is the original Spartan turn signal. It's pretty cool how this thing works. Turn it on like that, and then it actually has a little wheel here. You can see that touches the steering wheel so that when you turn it, it's supposed to then kick this back up. It doesn't work. Still pretty neat little simple concept that they had back in the day. The windshield latches are super simple. You just there's one here. That's pretty much it. And you do the same thing on the other side, then the windshield would fold forward. This was the original style decal that was here back in 1970. Talks about the transfer case and the transmission. It's a 3-speed, it's a T14 transmission. It's got a Dana 18 transfer case. It's got the single stick transfer case, which is kind of like one of the things that they changed. It used to be a twin stick so you could control high, low, and 2 and 4, but now one lever controls both pins on the transfer case. It's actually a pretty neat little system. I've added a little pouch here, and these seat brackets were actually super hard to find. They were missing when I bought the Jeep. I wanted to find some original seat brackets, and it took me about 6 months. I found some guy in Arizona who finally had a set that he was willing to sell them, but I had to pay quite a bit of money for him. He was pretty proud of those things. The speedometer is over there. That's not original to the Jeep. I don't know if that's the correct speedometer for a 1970 CJ5. I had to get a different speedometer because the one I had was such bad shape. I decided to go with that one. It's an old one. I rebuilt it, and even though I've rebuilt it and replaced everything in there, nothing works. That's one thing on the Jeep that it still needs some attention, and I don't know, it's defeated me multiple times. I can't get the fuel gauge to work. The temp gauge just goes all the way to hot, and no matter what I do, I can't get the speedometer to start working. So that's why I have these gauges here. It tells me the temp, oil pressure, and my voltage, because I've had 2 different times the battery, well, once the battery died, once the alternator went out. So moving on up here, this dash pad. This dash pad's gonna start a very long story, so get ready. All right, sorry about that. I had to get the tripod set up because this is gonna be a long story. So the dash pad was clue number 1 for me that this may have been a 1970 original Renegade 1. Back in 1970, they made Renegade 1s starting about halfway through the year. This VIN number originally did match up to about halfway through the year. And the other weird thing was that the VIN numbers were never like, you aren't able to look at the VIN number and know if it was a Renegade 1 or not. There's just different clues on the Jeep that kind of let you know that it was a Renegade 1. This thing had a lot of them. Originally it was a blue color, like a light blue. I'll show a picture of that right here, the original color. That color blue doesn't exist if you look at a 1970 paint scheme for all the original colors that the Jeeps came from the factory in 1970. That blue is not on there. That blue is actually similar to a blue that started in 1972 after AMC took over, and it was on the Renegade ones. So who knows, the color was weird. We sanded through all the layers. We found the original color on the Jeep. We assume it was the original color. It was under the hood. It was on the back of the grill. It was on the firewall, on the inner fenders, it was on the body, it was on the tailgate, it was on everything. That tells me that that was the original color. It was in places that you wouldn't find. This thing had about 3-4 different colors put on top of that. So after we sanded through all those layers, we got down to that original like baby blue kind of color, as you saw there. Going back to why I think this thing was originally a Renegade 1. The Renegade 1s always came with one roll bar, and this has holes for a roll bar, and I actually have the roll bar hanging right up here. They didn't all come with roll bars. Originally in 1970, the CJ5 did not come from the factory with a roll bar. So I've kind of opted to leave the roll bar out just because there were supposedly never any red Renegade 1s, and I wanted to paint my Jeep red. So I kind of ditched the Renegade 1 theme. There's no way to really prove it anyways. And I just decided not to run the roll bar, and I wanted to just kind of look like a 1970 regular old CJ5, which is kind of what I wanted when I started this whole build. Some of the other things that kind of led us to believe this might have been a Renegade 1. The roll bar, the dash pad is another thing. The dash pad always came on the Renegade 1. Also, they always came with the upgraded heavy duty suspension. So they had like the 11 pack of leaf springs. And then in turn with that, you had the 10-inch drums instead of the 9-inch drum. And then you also had the flanged Dana 44 rear axle with the solid axle shafts. This thing has all of those. It had the original heavy-duty leaf springs. It has that rare rear axle, that was only produced about a year and a half in 1970 and then halfway through 1971. And they never made that axle anymore. Didn't know when I bought it, but I ended up, getting a pretty awesome little rear axle in there, so that's pretty neat. So it's just kind of an interesting story. It had the dash pad, it had the right leaf springs, it had the right rear axle, it had the roll bar, it had the 10-inch drum brakes. I think that's it. The only things it was kind of missing were it has the bigger steering wheel too. The steering wheel was, I think, bigger on the Renegade 1s. The only thing that's missing is Kelsey Hayes, I believe the 15x8 Kelsey Hayes wheels. Not have those. I'm assuming these wheels were the original wheels and they're just like the normal 15x7s. That was one thing that, didn't really match up, but then the color didn't match up. There's really no way to tell. My suspicions, I feel like, my gut tells me that it was a Renegade 1. And the right motor too. It had the V6. All the Renegade 1s had the 225 V6, which this had. So moving to the back, we have the Willys tailgate, which is actually incorrect. The tailgate should have been blank in 1966 to 1971. They stopped coming with the stamp here. They were just blank. That was the tailgate that was on it when I got it. So at some point in this Jeep's history, somebody put a Willys tailgate on it. But the bumper was made by the same guy who made the front bumper. I did have a tire carrier on it originally. So because I had the tire carrier, which was a huge channel that rode through here, and then it would latch in right here, the brake lights were originally down low and the reverse lights were up high. So I ended up just switching them so that I could run the tire carrier and you could still see the brake lights. Tailgate chains are reproductions that are made by Walks 4-wheel drive. These are just some regular old trailer brake lights. The original brake lights are very hard to find because they always broke and nobody makes them anymore. And so here's that rear solid axle shaft that I was talking about. It's not a tapered Dana 44, it's a flanged Dana 44. This dash isn't the original dash. This dash was also made by Walks 4-wheel drive as a reproduction, and that's why it has the cutout for the vacuum lines. This was the original grab bar. I sanded it down, painted it black. Interesting story, the glove box, the stainless steel in here, it's actually a serving dish from like an industrial or commercial kitchen. I got it at like a restaurant supply for like $5. It fits in there and I just had to bash in the top corner here for the cowl. And it's great because they want like $40 for the plastic one. So under the passenger seat, there's a toolbox. The toolbox this is the winch remote. I keep a toolbox full of the baling wire from the last videos in here. Big hammer, a bunch of other things that are in here. Ratchet straps, I keep a spare rear drive shaft, jumper cables. There's a bunch of distributor parts down here. I think that's all that's in here. There's some more distributor parts. In that little bag of tools, I also keep a socket set with all the sizes of bolts that are on this thing. The windshield frames originally did come black. They were like a semi-gloss black. This is actually painted gloss black. It's actually powder coated, which is why it's all scuffed up from tree branches and stuff, and I can't polish out or buff out. Alright guys, I hope you made it this far, and I also hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'll be making more videos related to old Jeeps, this Jeep, new Jeeps, trips, trail rides, everything, you name it. If it has to do with Jeeps, I'll probably be making videos about it. You know, we got Jeep Beach coming up in a few months, and I've taken this thing every year to Jeep Beach for like the past 4 years, and I hope to make a pretty good video about Jeep Beach. So stay tuned, there's a lot more content on the way. Love to have you here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.